All right, now the market's selling off here on a Friday. Questions might be abound. What's going on here? Why and how long will it continue? All very good questions. One of the things that you and I both think is going on is that this is the SpaceX effect, if you will. Folks that have winning positions, especially in positions that have moved a tremendous amount, need to free up cash for what is considered a mega IPO coming in the next week or two here.
Next week, actually.
Next week,
Yeah.
so it's really really close. Yeah, that's right. It's closer than I thought. So I would imagine that you have some of these winners. You see the market trading in a little bit. You think, you know what? This is it. This is the day. I'm going to get all these funds ready. I'm going to be ready for these IPOs. And SpaceX, there's also some other mega IPOs coming behind it. So it's not just one, although SpaceX is the one in the immediate future here. Um, so we thought, this might have an effect on stocks. You obviously agree with that, but we also thought, why don't we take a look at some other plays here? Like, for example, who might own SpaceX? And I've got
Yeah.
one here. I've got Bank of America. Tell me about this, Joe.
Well, Bank of America ha is one of the owners that they of SpaceX prior to this IPO, as is Google. They both ended up investing in this company at an earlier opportunity. But there's another company, EchoStar, that also benefited from getting SpaceX shares through a sale of frequencies for their Starlink. EchoStar was able to provide that to them for, I think it was like a more than $19 billion. And as a result, SpaceX paid them in shares. So these are some of the owners that are going to be likely, taking some gains or maybe selling some of their position at the IPO. They could benefit from this IPO, being that they are holding one of the mega IPOs that are coming out this year.
Okay, so just to recap there, that is Bank of America, ticker BAC, Google, ticker GOOG or GOOGL, and SATS, ticker SATS, EchoStar. Now we have another bucket here. Some companies that SpaceX actually pays, and we've talked about a few of these. I'm actually going to start with one we've already made a video about. This is, of course, Velo. This was actually a great trade for, I know, both of us. This is
Oh
really
yeah.
kind of coming back in. By the way, check this out. We'll do this live while we're on the video. Let me edit this study here. Oops, excuse me. Activate drawing, and we're just going to extend this trend line out because check this out. Looks like that might be a potential support area. I think we also talked about Velo. If it comes back into 15s, that might be a pretty good reload. But what do you have here for this bucket of companies that SpaceX is going to pay?
Well, and Velo are already strategic partners. Velo 3D Systems is, let's call them a 3D printing company, but they 3D print metal parts. And one of the things that they make for SpaceX is a lot of components on their Raptor 3 rocket engines. They have 33 of those on each one of these Starship boosters. And so they have to be able to churn these out in a quick time and test them and ensure that they work. And this is, in my opinion, going to be some of the future of manufacturing is 3D printing metal components. So very important strategic partner, Bella 3D Systems, also a strategic partner for Anduril, which we can get in at a later time. But Velo 3D Systems, very important company to SpaceX. That's one of them. Another that provides cryogenic fluids and gases, that is Lind, ticker LIN. Very, very important to SpaceX Starship launches as they provide the liquid oxygen and liquid nitrogen and some other cryogenic gases and fluids for their operations on their Starship launches. Going to continue to see a lot of business with them, even though SpaceX is trying to build their own oxygen, compression and collection sites so they can make their own liquid oxygen.
Yeah.
Still, Lynn is going to have to, supply them that amount, whatever they aren't able to produce on their own. So Lind still very much a big partner and going to be receiving lots of money from SpaceX in the future here. Finally,
And,
STM.
and really quick,
Oh, sorry.
just on the whole this bucket, remember, when it comes to why we're kind of looking at these, Jamie Dimon just asked Elon
Oh, yeah.
Musk, why are you going public right now? And he said, Well, growth is going to be expensive and we need a lot of money. So
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's a fair bet to assume that these companies that you're talking about here are going to get some of that. Sorry for interrupting you here. What's your third?
My third is ST Microelectronics. This is STM. This company, which has been on a fantastic run lately, uh, likely because this is getting part of that halo effect from the SpaceX IPO. This company has been making a lot of electronic components and semiconductor components for their Starlink systems. So this is one of the big companies that helps SpaceX manufacture that side. And with the new third version of Starlink satellites coming out. They're going to continue to receive some business. There's a big plan that Elon has to make SpaceX or Starlink a global network that ends up being a large percentage of global internet traffic, trying to reach everybody around the world. So lots of ambitious future here for SpaceX and Starlink on the heels of Musk's and their partnership here and their business with STM.
Okay, awesome. Now we also have some other space plays, maybe not directly tied to SpaceX all that much, but we'll start here with Redwire. This is one that we've talked about before. This is a space infrastructure play here.
Oh yeah.
This now also pulling back to its 20. That actually might be a decent spot to maybe add. Furthermore, if you can get down to that 13 handle, maybe that might be another spot too. What do you think here in Redwire?
Yeah, so this is like the picks and shovels of the
Yeah.
space industry right now, and they have a lot of different things going on. One of the companies that's still, in a growth phase, and they've burned through cash, so there's going to be capital raises similar to how Novello is right now too. But Redwire is doing a lot of 3D printing in space. Biological 3D printing in space. They have biological and pharmaceutical testing in space. There's a number of different things Redwire is involved with, and it's had a fantastic run from single digits to the double digits, going as almost as high as $27. But now it's come back in. I still think this is going to be another name that could be affected by the halo effect from
Yeah.
the SpaceX IPO. So look into this company. I think it's one of the better ones and has a lot of growth potential.
And you're getting a little bit of a discount here too. Next, we have Rocket Lab. This is another popular one out there. Rocket Lab has also been tremendous. Just a number of really good trading opportunities in this name. Recently, this obvious huge volume move and this breakthrough, this high here at 100 was fantastic. Went all the way to 151. But we're retracing that now, and it looks like 100 might be in sight here, and the 50 is coming up beneath it to perhaps provide some support. That's currently at $96. What do you think here on Rocket Lab?
I own this company. I've owned this for about 7 or 8 months now. It's been a fantastic name to own. One of the things that we're waiting on here is the maiden voyage of their neutron rocket. That's going to be the one that's going to compete with SpaceX's Falcon 9 platform. They're not going to, try and compete with Starship. That's just some next level capacity that SpaceX is trying to send up there. But their Falcon 9, which they've been, having hundreds of launches happen successfully with the reusable rockets. That's what they're going to be competing against. They already have their smaller Electron rocket that's already producing revenue for them. They have a dedicated site in Virginia that's just used for the U.S. Department of War. So there's a lot to like about Rocket Lab. I think that they've got a lot of growth prospects as well, and they're going to be a great competitor to SpaceX in some capacity. I do think that this is coming down to 100, where I'd be interested in seeing if this is going to hold up around there. I think that that's going to be a great support area. So want to see that happen here for the price action. We need to see that hold above 100.
Okay, last one, and we'll enjoy the weekend here. This is going to be Voyager, ticker VOYG. This was a recent IPO, maybe not terribly recent, but back last year. This thing really out of the IPO wasn't all that great. Spent time selling off. It does look like it's kind of bottomed here. I don't really want to call this an inverse head and shoulders here, but it does kind of give the effect. Low print here, 1741, but this actual true support down here a little bit closer to 25. This did run back above 50. This too pulling back and coming into its 20-day moving average thereabouts. We have that 20-day at 41.15 right now. 50 is at 33.04. So pull back here. Do you like this at the 20? What do you think on Voyager?
I might see this one come in a little bit. It's not, it is a little bit tied to SpaceX in a sense because a lot of what they want to do with their Starlab is to launch it with Starship. So it's the success of Starship is really I'm sorry, the success of Voyager is really dependent on the success of Starship, which I think it will be. I think Starship's going to be fantastic. But until we actually are able to get that launch is going to be able to start taking some of the Voyager components up into space. This is, probably going to continue to, eat through some cash. I could see some potential capital raises coming, but I still think it's going to be a great trade if this gets picked up by the halo effect and lifted into the SpaceX IPO. One area that I think I would want to watch for because I don't think they were quite done selling yet. I think that we're going to want to keep an eye between 38 and 40. That could be an area where you might get some bottoming. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on to see if we get that bottoming at 38. And if it looks like we're starting to turn around and lift off away from 38, I think we found ourselves a bottom.
I see what you did there. That was well done. And good stuff here. Good breakdown on a lot of these space stocks. We'll see what SpaceX gives us. You can expect us to talk about that when that comes out. Joe, thanks for joining us. Stay safe in this sell off out here. We'll catch you next time.
Have a good weekend.